Hello and welcome to the first show of Monomoy After Hours. I am Patrick Jordan, one of your three hosts for tonight, and I'm here with Abria Long and Connor Francis.
In this series, we will be introducing and presenting the various projects from Mr. Cass's Digital Media 2 class here at Monomoy.
In today's episode, our cast interviewed someone they admire in their everyday lives, with our first of the night being Stephen Kelly, who interviewed his dad, who immigrated from Ireland and started his own business.
The United States is a melting pot. Each day, thousands of immigrants, whether it be from Asia, Europe, Africa, South America, or other places, come to the United States looking for freedom, prosperity, and success. Today, we're going to talk to one of these people. And one of these people isn't just any person, it's my own dad. Let's go talk to him now.
Hello, Dad. How are you?
Hi, Stephen. How are you today?
Good. Now, obviously, I'm your son, so I will know the answers to some of these questions. But obviously, for the people watching at home, I guess we start off with some basics. So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Dublin, Ireland, in a town called Rathfarnham. It's got lots of consonants in it. It's hard to pronounce if you've not been used to it.
Obviously, now you're in America. How does America differ from Ireland?
Well, it's different in the sense that ever since I've come to America, I've been working hard. I didn't really work as much in Ireland as I did here in America. And when you get older, you just spend so much more time working. When I was growing up in Ireland, I was playing sports and going to school and stuff like that. So my life changed when I came to America.
Are there any significant cultural differences between the US and Ireland?
Well, the Irish culture is not dissimilar to American culture, but it's definitely of its own accord. The Irish people definitely have their own traits and customs and history, obviously.
What was the deciding factor that made you say, I want to move to America?
Well, I got a US State Department green card in the lottery system, so I had an option to come to America, so I decided to come and try it out and see what it was like. I've always liked traveling. I had been in England before, and it's always good. I always felt when I was young I wanted to travel and experience new things.
So when you applied for the green card, was it just hoping for the best, or were you just seeing what happened?
Well, just seeing what would happen, really. And I didn't physically apply for it myself. One of my friend's mothers did. Oh. And the three of us were sitting in her kitchen one morning, myself and my two friends who are brothers. And so she applied for the green card for all three of us. Me, because I just happened to be there that day. And out of the three of us, I was the only one that got the green card. So I decided at one point then I would try it out. I went through the whole process of applying for the green card. And maybe 18 months later, here I was in America in 1993.
What was the process like, moving halfway across the world? Was it difficult?
Well, not really. I mean, I was single and I didn't have anyone with me. So, and there's a direct flight from Dublin to Boston. So it was an easy trip across the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, I assimilated quite well. I knew a person in Hyannis that I stayed with for a while. We shared an apartment, and so it was easy for me to come here. And after the initial looking for work and stuff, I got a job, and yeah, I just got down to working.
And now you own your own business, Kelly Roofing. What made you decide to create that rather than work for someone else?
Well, I started working for somebody else and I learned how to do all the physical aspects of the roofing business and siding and stuff like that. And I just felt at one point, maybe 4 or 5 years into my roofing career, I would be better off working for myself. I felt I had enough knowledge, and I worked for a lot of contractors at that time, so there was a steady flow of work. So I just felt it was a natural progression to do that.
Has your business been a success?
Yes, I'm lucky. Living on Cape Cod, we've always been busy. I've had like many employees over the years, and there has always been plenty of work to keep us busy. I never remember a day where we didn't have any work. Just always work, 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 which is great. Many times when I was younger in Ireland, you wouldn't necessarily have work all the time. The economy was not very good. It has since drastically improved, but yeah, I'm happy to work here on the Cape. I've gotten quite used to it, and I love the fact that there's so much space to work in.
Now, it does look like we're out of time, but it has been nice talking to you.
Well, thank you. It's been nice talking to you.
It just goes to show, so many people have stories that others are simply unaware of. Over 1 in 10 people in the United States are immigrants, and apparently some of them didn't even sign up for them themselves. Luckily, things haven't gone that bad for my dad. My name is Stephen Kelly. Thanks for watching.
That was a very interesting and inspiring project by Stephen.
Absolutely. It's very inspiring to see immigrants from all over the world coming to the United States for stronger opportunities. We have a very strong workforce here.
Now we have our very own Abria. She interviewed her dad, who is a firefighter/paramedic at Chatham Fire Department. He's considered a big hero in the community and does a lot for us.
Hello, welcome. My name is Abria Long, and as you can see, I'm here at the fire station. First responders are a lifeline, and there are many interesting and important aspects of their job. They are the first to arrive in a quick manner to provide assistance to emergencies such as horrific car accidents, house fires, and something as little as a false alarm. Today, I am here with one first responder, my dad, Scott, who is Lieutenant Paramedic at Chatham Fire Department. Before we get into talking about your career, tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you like to do in your free time while you aren't at the station?
I like to spend time with my family and friends. We go camping on the beach, fishing, football games, fun stuff like that, barbecues, stuff that everybody does really.
What inspired you to become a firefighter?
Well, my grandfather was a firefighter, so I always thought that was pretty cool when I'd see him have to leave the house real quick for a call. But I was never really sure what I wanted to do until I got out of college. I had a boss at a restaurant that was a volunteer firefighter, and that's how I kind of got into it. Rest is history.
What does your day working consist of?
So I show up early in the morning, try to get here early so I can get dressed in my uniform, and I'm ready to go by 8 a.m. I get the report from the shift officer that worked the day before to let me know if anything special that I need to know about. And then we start our truck checks. Check all the equipment, check the supplies and the ambulances, fire engines, make sure all the equipment runs. Get some training in the day, that's very important. And it's really whatever time allows, because we have 911 calls or regular service calls, all in between that stuff.
What is your most rewarding part about being a firefighter?
Just being able to help people in the community. I've always liked to help people, and especially if it's a really difficult call. You know, when we show up to somebody's house, that's usually on their worst day that they've ever had. So that's what we try to keep in mind and try to make whatever bad things happening a little bit better.
Are there any challenges you and your colleagues face?
Well, there's certainly challenges. There's difficult calls that we don't have every day, or that we may not be trained fully on because they just don't happen that often. And also just dealing with people in the public that might be in a bad mood that day, if you want to call it that.
What is your favorite type of call you've been on?
My favorite calls are the fire-related calls. We have, most of our calls are ambulance. which is great, but they can get boring and repetitive over time. Anytime there's a fire, it's more dangerous, but it's also more exciting and more fun, really, to be in that sort of call.
Many people here on Cape are first responders, either police officers, firefighters, or hospital workers. My dad is a hardworking, heroic first responder who inspires me to work hard and be brave. Thank you for being here today, Dad. I appreciate your time.
We all appreciate how heroic your dad is and his passion for saving and helping the community.
Firefighters and all first responders put their lives on the line every day for our safety. We definitely commend him for his bravery.
And for our next segment, we have Cameron McCutchen. He interviewed his mom, who is a teacher at Stony Brook Elementary School in Brewster.
Hi, my name is Cameron McCutchen. I'm a sophomore here at Monomoy High School. The job industry on Cape Cod is very different than it is in other places. One industry that employs a lot of people is teaching. Some towns have rapidly growing populations and some towns have rapidly decreasing populations. One town that has more students and more students needs more teachers is Brewster. Today, I'll be interviewing my mom, who teaches in Brewster. Caroline, what made you decide to start teaching?
I decided to start teaching. I had gone to school for business and I realized that it wasn't something that I was well suited for. And I wanted to make a difference. So I decided to go back to school to learn how to teach.
Where did you get your education?
I got my education, I actually first was a business major when I went to college, and then I went back to school. I went to UMass again and graduated with my teaching certificate. And right now I'm going back to school online and learning and getting my master's and learning how to teach children reading, so I'm more of a literacy specialist.
What is your favorite part about teaching?
My favorite part about teaching is when a child is successful and they learn something new and they have that aha moment and something clicks for them. And they're excited about learning and they're engaged.
How do you think this job differs in other places in comparison to Cape Cod?
I think that this job differs from the same job in another part of the country because when I teach, I try to relate what I'm teaching to what my students know. So I teach a lot about the animals and the plants that are around here. I teach a lot about living near the beach and being in a town rather than in the city. So I think that's a little bit different. I'm sure the population of children is different in every part of the country.
Why would you prefer to teach younger kids in comparison to kids my age?
I like to teach young children. I teach first grade and I love to teach kids how to read because I just feel like once kids know how to read, it opens up new worlds for them. I think with older kids, there's not as much of that sense of wonder and of curiosity about the world. I like to bring new things into their lives.
That's all for the interview. As you saw, teaching is a job that requires a lot of skill and education. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.
Cam always brings out the best in these types of projects.
Definitely. Teachers are a huge contribution to our society, and I feel like we definitely overlook them at times. This was a good topic for an admiration project.
Next, we have Megan Richmond, whose dad started working in the construction field, and now he estimates for Delbrook Construction, which has locations all up and down the Cape.
Oh, sorry, don't mind me. I was just enjoying the beautiful houses. Houses are being built in the Cape all the time, which really contributes to the economy. One person who helped build houses happens to be my dad. He went from building houses to working on the behind the scenes of construction after building took a toll on him physically. Now, let's take a look at what got him to where he is today. Hi, my name is Megan Richmond. I'm here with my dad, Stefan, and today I'm going to be talking about his career and how he came to his career. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
What was your life like growing up?
Well, we moved around a lot when I was younger, so I got to meet a lot of different, interesting people, and a lot of those people I am still friends with today.
Did you know what career path you wanted to take in high school?
My idea of career path was probably in line with something artistic. I was very artistic in school, loved graphic design, so it was probably going to be something along those lines.
So what led you to work in construction?
My father and stepmother built their log cabin up in Maine with their own hands, off the trees, off the property. So being around construction has always kind of been in the family, and I very much enjoy working with my hands outside, so it seemed like a natural fit to get into construction.
Why did you decide to switch careers?
The decision to switch careers was made for me due to a job site accident when I was a builder, and numerous surgeries prevented me from doing the physical side of construction. So I switched and got into drawing plans and more the behind the scenes in the construction field.
What is your current career?
My current career is in estimating. So building estimating. I look at building plans drawn from various architects and designers, and I come up with a material list to build whatever that structure is, a house, an addition, whatever it is. I create a list for the studs, the plywood, the trim, the roofing, siding, all the material to build that structure.
Do you enjoy estimating better than construction?
I wouldn't say I enjoy it better, it's just different. I'm glad I'm still in the construction industry. I do enjoy what I do, so it's good that I'm not killing my body out on a job site, climbing up and down ladders, but I very much enjoy what I do now, even though I enjoyed doing what I did back then, being in the field.
Thank you for joining me today and answering some of the questions I had.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to seeing how it comes out.
My dad had chosen one career path, but he had to veer off on a different path after the physical toll that construction took on him. So, as you can see, it is not always a bad thing to change your career, even after you've been doing it for a while, and the changing career could even work better for you in the long run.
It was interesting to hear about her dad and his career slightly changed and the reasoning behind that. Many people's lives go in different directions than they anticipate.
Next, we have Ashley Smith, who interviewed her mom about her life from childhood to now.
Hello, my name is Ashley Smith. We all have someone in our lives that is like a rock, always there for you and always will be. For many people, that's their mother. Mothers are often overlooked. We don't take enough time to listen to their stories and truly appreciate all that they do for us. Today, we're going to be taking a look into the life of someone who didn't start her own business or solve the unsolvable, but who lives a pretty extraordinary life out of the spotlight. I interviewed my mom, who in my opinion is an extraordinary woman. Hopefully you'll agree too. Hi, I'm here joined with my mom. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course, of course. I guess we'll just get right into the questions then.
Sounds great.
So, where did you grow up? Tell me a little bit about your childhood.
So I grew up in Simsbury, Connecticut. It is a small town, a suburban town in Connecticut, and I lived with my brother and my two parents. And it was a really nice childhood. It was loving and safe and kind, and we lived on a quiet street, and I remember playing with my brother and our neighborhood friends in the winter. We would build snow forts and sled down our driveway. Our family loved to go on vacations. My parents took us every summer. We'd go to Cape Cod, so I grew up loving Cape Cod. We would come and go swimming in the beaches and fishing, and that was always something we looked forward to. And I was active when I was in Connecticut, and I played sports. I went to Simsbury High School, and I played soccer and basketball and lacrosse. And that was really fun for me, and I made really good friends, and I'm still friends with those girls today. And yeah, it was a wonderful childhood, and I had a great time living there, and I'm really fortunate to have had a loving family and a nice neighborhood.
So, sports were a big part of your life. Tell me, how did you start playing sports, and why are they such a big part of your life?
So I started playing sports when I was really young as I can remember, simply because I love being outside and I was always active. And then any opportunity to join a team I took advantage of, and that started at age 5 or 6 with youth sports. I played soccer and basketball and softball and any sport I could, and that continued into high school. In high school, I played varsity soccer, varsity basketball, varsity softball. I was the captain of all the sports, and my senior year our team was undefeated and state champions. I really loved it and loved being a part of teams, and I went to a smaller school where I could still play sports, and I played soccer and lacrosse in college. And our team won a championship my freshman year. I was a college All-American. And I played semi-pro soccer after I graduated. I played for the Boston Renegades, which was a semi-pro team, simply because I had a passion for sports. It wasn't just the actual game, but it's the relationships that I was able to make and the life lessons I learned. I really enjoyed, and they're still a part of my life today.
What jobs have you had in the past, and what do you do now?
So, when I graduated high school, my first job was an assistant coach in college, and I thought I might want to go into college coaching, but I realized I really missed the academic side of my life, and I decided to be a teacher so I could incorporate teaching and coaching. So I have been a history teacher. I did take a small break and tried advertising. I sold tickets to a professional sports team, and I was not very good at it. I also worked in my family's printing business, and I realized my real passion and love is teaching and working with students, helping them to develop confidence, and I really miss that. So ever since I've been back teaching history at high school and middle school, and most recently I'm a physical education teacher for elementary school students. So,
what was your biggest obstacle to overcome, and how did you overcome it?
So I think, like most people, I faced some normal, smaller obstacles throughout life. I did injure my knee in college, and at the time, it was very difficult. I couldn't play a year of college lacrosse, but in retrospect, I think that's a smaller obstacle. I think the biggest obstacles for me have been when my father passed away, seeing him sick, and seeing my mom have such a hard time with that. That was really hard for me. I wanted to support both of them and be there for both of them in a difficult time. And most recently, my mom has been living alone, and her health is declining, and I've been trying to help her through that. And that's been really hard for me. I think that's the biggest challenge, is to be a loving and supportive daughter and help her in whatever stage she's in right now, and that can be really hard. So, but I think you solve that by being resilient and kind and focusing on being a loving person, and I think that's what will get you through obstacles.
And lastly, what type of things do you like to do in your free time?
So in my free time, I do love to be outside. So I love going on walks, hiking, walking on the beach, kayaking. I do enjoy going fishing. I do like gardening, although I'm not very good at it, but I like to try my hand at gardening. And spending time with my family. I enjoy just doing things with my daughter and my son, and I enjoy reading. I love to read books, so yeah.
Thank you for joining me today. Hopefully, you've gained some insight into the life of someone who is pretty special to me. You don't have to have an amazing, extraordinary story to tell, just to be an amazing person. Make sure you talk to the people you love about things that are important to them every once in a while. You may just learn something pretty amazing.
It's very interesting to see adults now talking about the past few decades we may not even know much about.
It seems like her childhood experience was very similar to ours.
Now we have our fantastic Maya Jones. She interviewed her cousin who works in social media management and brand marketing for Damon John.
Hi, my name is Maya Jones. As we progress through the occupation industry, and especially after the pandemic, jobs in the social media field have had an upward trend. These jobs can range from simple media influencing to more behind-the-scenes work like social media management. To look more into these new and upcoming careers, today I'm going to be interviewing someone who is a crucial part of social media but doesn't necessarily appear in front of the camera. This is Danielle Jones. She's my cousin, and she comes from New York City. She works in social media management, specifically brand marketing, and today we're going to ask her a few questions about her qualifications, background, and about her job now.
Awesome. Hi, Maya. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Were you always interested in the digital or social media field, even before college?
Yes, actually, I got interested in this a long time before I went to college. I think that the first time I ever was interested in doing something in the digital space was way back in my time. We used to have to take computer classes that were a lot less advanced than probably what you guys take now. And we were able to take home a very tiny point-and-shoot digital camera. And pretty much ever since I started shooting on that, I was about 12 years old, I always knew I wanted to do something that related to the photo space at least. And then as I got older, I became very interested in marketing as well.
Where did you go to college? Was your path of study influenced by this field?
I went to NYU, which is New York University, and I think that because of what I was interested in before I went to college, I knew that I wanted to work with photo, and I think that being in school and actually being able to take classes in both photography and marketing made me realize that I wanted to find a way to combine the two into my career. So I definitely feel like the time I spent at school really influenced my career choice.
What is your overall background and experience in the digital media field?
Yes, I would definitely say that the countless hours that I spend on TikTok is my background. No, I'm kidding. All jokes aside, I feel like probably like besides the time that I spent in school, I did this job pretty much right as soon as I got out of college. The first job that I got was within the social media space. It was the perfect way to combine like my love of photography with my interest in the marketing space. So I did a couple other jobs before I started the one that I'm at right now, and they spanned across marketing, social, and also creative direction as well.
What do you do for work and what are your responsibilities?
So right now I'm working for Damon John and I'm on the brand marketing team, but specifically I manage anything and everything that has to do with social media. So not only his social media, but also the social media accounts of his various clients as well as different brands that he, works with on Shark Tank. Sometimes they need help on social media and I'm always there to lend a hand. So I manage his day-to-day posting. I do all of his posts, copywriting, as well as ideating, creating his content, and also doing creative strategy about how he's going to represent the different brands that want to work with him. A lot of brands contact him to do pretty much like advertisements through him. It's kind of like a big influencer, and I help him come up with ways to basically advertise those brands, but have it fit in organically with his strategy and like what he already posts.
What jobs or influences did you have before this that helped meet the prerequisite for this job?
So aside from like given proven experience working with social media, there also had to have been proof of being able to grow accounts and grow account engagement. And since I've already done all of that before, I think it also really helped. They wanted someone who had proven ability to work with, like I've been saying, the two sides of the coin being marketing and creative. So I have a creative portfolio that I put together that shows all of the different projects that I've ideated and put together over the years. And I feel like maybe they weren't necessarily asking for that, but I think the fact that I had it really helped me level up and get the job.
How did you find the opportunity to work with Damon John directly? Was this connected to living in the heart of New York City?
Well, I found the job pretty much the same way I feel like anybody finds a job in today's day and age, which is just like online job boards. I do feel like being in New York City did help me get the job. I feel like advice to anybody out there, like where you live definitely informs the places that you work. And even though my job is mostly remote, I do feel like being in New York and like kind of knowing how to work your way around the city is like an added bonus to where you work. People see that as like a certain ability that other people might not have. So I definitely think living in New York did help me get the job in a way. Because Damon's also from New York and he really values people that are from the city and like enjoy living there as well.
What is the most rewarding part of working in the social media industry?
I think the most rewarding part is, again, what I've been saying, being able to combine the powers of like marketing, which is like a very traditional, kind of old school job that's been around for forever, and the modern aspect of this new technology that we have today. We're kind of the first generation that's grown up with social media and like are now working in the field. So in a way it feels very new. And the other aspect about it that I find super rewarding is that so many people discover brands and people through social media first. So it's kind of the way people get to know the brand. So I'm very forward facing. And I think the last thing that I love about it is you get instant results. Whenever you do something and it works, like you'll know within 24 hours if that, post that you made is going viral or not. So I love that aspect about it, and I love being able to see the immediate growth and not kind of wonder. I get to have the data right in front of me.
Behind the scenes of many brands and public figures you may love, there are important people who run their accounts. I hope this interview gave you more insight into what this career is like, because it's becoming a much more considerable profession in the modern day world. Thank you to Danielle, who took time out of her busy schedule to come and conduct this interview. She came all the way from New York City in these horrific weather conditions, so thank you for that.
Anytime.
And thank you for watching.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Maya.
You're welcome.
I basically wanted to do the easiest job that would pay me the most. No, I'm kidding. Okay, I'm done.
Thanks, ladies.
Alright, you look dumb. Yeah.
Okay, ready? Dylan? Dylan!
I can't wait to turn on Fox and Friends. And Nana watches it every day.
You're good.
I feel like the most rewarding aspect is being able to see Jimmy's mom.
Can you not look at me, please? Does that look normal?
Yeah, you look good.
Does that look normal? Now you're freaking me out.
I don't know.
Okay.
Tonight at 9.
Dylan, I was literally about to start talking.
Give me loud.
You guys are louder than the lightning.
Lightning is silent.
Lightning strikes.
80 degrees. I feel like this work field isn't very well known or taught about in schools often, but it is definitely very fascinating and cool to hear about Maya's cousin's experience with it.
Did you know I wanted to Shark Tanks offer a mixed meat product? I offer 20% stake.
Ha, that's a good one.
For our next segment, we have Noah Metters, who interviewed his mom and talked about her with her life.
Many people have someone in their lives whom they admire and look up to. For me, that person is my mother. And today, we're going to be learning a little bit about who she is through an interview. And I hope you all enjoy. Let's get to it. Here we are today with Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca.
Hello, Noah.
How you doing today?
I am well. How are you doing?
Doing pretty well myself. Now, our first question is, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Cohasset on the South Shore.
Where'd you attend college and what did you major in?
I went to UMass Amherst and I majored in history.
Nice, nice. Now, what was your first job?
I think my first job was working as a clerk at the register at a small little pharmacy in downtown Cohasset after school.
What made you decide to move down to Chatham, and what was it like trying to find housing down here?
We came down here, my oldest was about a year old. We had the opportunity to get some family land and build a house down here. We basically came down here, my husband's family was from here, and we owned a business down here. So we decided to relocate to be closer to our business and to make it easier for my husband so that he could be there with our only child at the time. And his family had some land in Chatham, so we were extremely fortunate that we could build on that land to be able to get into having a house in Chatham.
And what would you say is your biggest accomplishment?
I guess I would have to say probably my greatest accomplishment is my family, my 4 kids. They're wonderful. It's been great that we've been able to have a successful business here in Chatham. We've been able to build a really good family life and home life here in town, and it's a great place to raise a family. We're really happy to be here and really happy with the decision we made all those years ago to move down here. And yeah, probably my kids are my greatest accomplishment.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Mom, for joining us.
You're welcome, Noah. It was fun.
Well, thank you all, and see you next time. Inspiration is a good thing. Even while just talking with my mom, I feel inspired to go out into the world and apply myself in every aspect of my life. Thanks for watching today. This is Noah Metters, signing off.
Noah, your mom definitely has had a very interesting life going on.
Again, it's definitely really cool to hear about the childhood of the older generation.
Finally, we have our favorite spectacular host, Patrick Jordan, who interviewed his mom, who was an editor for a magazine and is now a community engagement coordinator here at Monomoy Regional Schools.
Hi, my name is Patrick, and have you ever looked at a magazine or website and thought, wow, this looks really good? Then that would be the work of editors and community engagement coordinators, which my mom, Joy Jordan, has been both. Today, I'll be interviewing her about her work, how she got into it, and what she has learned. Today, I'm going to be interviewing my mom, Joy Jordan, about her work. I know you used to work for a magazine. What magazine was it and what was it like?
So I worked for a magazine called Cape and Plymouth Business for about 15 years. I joined it just as it was starting, and I was an assistant editor to start and a managing editor, and then I became the editor when there were some leadership changes. So I saw the magazine through its birth all the way to some expansion, and yeah, so I was there for 15 years. And what was it like on a daily basis? It was always interesting. It was a monthly magazine, so there were set cycles to the workflow, but it was always interesting, and I got to meet a lot of people in our community and learn about a lot of exciting businesses and organizations. So it was a very interesting job to have.
How did you get into this line of work?
So my career has mostly been in either publishing or marketing, and it's really two sides of the same skill set. In all of my jobs, I've needed to be a good communicator, a good writer, a good editor, and those are things that I need to do whether I am working for a marketing firm or as a marketing director, or whether I'm working for a book publisher, newspaper publisher, or magazine publisher, all of which I've done. So I've gone back and forth in those different fields using basically the same skill set.
Was there anything that you learned or experienced while working for that magazine?
When I was working for the magazine, as well as all of my other jobs, really, I have learned that it's very important to be flexible because things change all the time. It's important to pay attention to details because that can really make or break the things that you're doing. You want to make sure you're doing everything correctly. I've also learned that relationships are really important. It really matters that you develop good relationships both with the people you work with internally and people you work with outside of your organization.
Now you work as a community engagement coordinator. Was the transition hard for you?
In some ways it was, and in some ways it wasn't at all, because this job uses many of the same skills that I developed in my previous job. I do a lot of writing and editing and design work. I do a lot of working with organizations, developing relationships. Those are all things that, while I did them in a different industry when I was in publishing, they're the same activities at their base. And so while it's done in a different setting, it uses a lot of the same experience and skills that I had. So it's been a great transition and I love my job.
And what did you have to learn to be able to work in either of these positions?
You had to learn a lot. One thing that you have to be very good at, I think, to succeed in both of these positions and in most jobs is being good at communication, and that's both written communication and verbal communication, being able to clearly write down your thoughts, or if you are doing some kind of report for your boss, or if you are just writing an email to a colleague or a customer, being able to clearly express yourself in writing is tremendously important for these two positions, but for all positions in general. And the same can be said for verbal communication. It's very important to be able to say what you mean and mean what you say, so that those that you are working with, both inside your organization and outside of it, understand what you're saying and what you need from them and what they need from you. I've also learned that it's really important to have integrity in all of your relationships with people, whether it's someone you're working with, a coworker, or a client or a customer, or sort of the end user of your product, whatever that might be. I think that behaving in a way that people know they can trust you really will lead you to where you need to go in your career, whatever it might be.
Thank you, Mom, for letting me interview you today. It was great to know about all the experiences I could learn about you from the past and the present.
This is another awesome example of lives inevitably changing. It really demonstrates that as long as you're happy, it doesn't matter where you end up.
Well, folks, that is all for the projects we are presenting for the Person We Admire theme.
These projects were a very interesting look into the Digital Media 2 students' admirations in life. Thank you to all the students who donated their projects to this episode.
We hope you enjoyed the show today, and make sure you tune in next time for the new projects. This is Connor Francis,
Patrick Jordan,
and Abria Long.
Signing off. See you next time.